Yes.
Welcome to the Bravo Charlie Club podcast, episode number 003. And at the conclusion of this, you'll be 12.5 minutes more awesome. I'm Richard. He's Ben. Let's go.
How are you, Richard?
Good,
Here
thanks.
we are. This is our first live in-person
Live and in person, yeah.
podcast recording. It's fantastic to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me.
You are a real person.
I am a real person.
You're not AI. The segment that we've named the Fully Awake Project has been popular with listeners, and this week, Mark Zuckerberg had said that the key to finding new friends is AI. Basically, he suggested that having a gang of robots to call your pals was the way forward. And I think we need to unpack that. Personally, I'm not too sure about the idea of having a gang of robots to call my friends, ones that can't have the capacity to know that you exist. And he actually pontificates that the average American has fewer than 3 friends, which is probably another topic. But I just wondered where you sat on the AI as your friend debate.
I don't know. I mean, it strikes me as it's kind of it's like anti-social media, right? The whole point of Facebook was to connect you to your friends out there and make the world feel a bit smaller, develop relationships. But I guess maybe that pool's monetized as much as it can be, then maybe you can get more money out of people who'll pay to keep your AI conversations around. I don't know. It seems to be the exact opposite of the sort of intended.
So we've worked hard to get us to one point, i.e. being connected.
Yeah,
and now
exactly.
That was okay, but that's so last year. Let's disconnect and just talk to our AI friends. You've got one like Claude. You mentioned
Claude,
him a few episodes
ago. I do spend an hour or so a day talking to Claude. Yeah, true. More in a work context, but fair point. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not ready for that, Mark, but thank you for
Thanks for the offer.
I'm happy calling my mates. I know I annoy them sometimes by calling them too often. I'm comfortable with that. They can just hang up or send me the voicemail. AI wouldn't know what to do that, but it would be always on, right?
I guess. I mean, there's probably so many different ways you can do it. Maybe you're in the metaverse and you've got your goggles on and you're in there with your AI mates playing cards or doing whatever you do. Who knows?
Look, there's got to be some advantages. I'm just getting old and don't like change then. I'll sit in that column. Okay, interesting. Travel tip of the week, a listener wrote in and said they don't travel too much, they're homebound. And they just wondered if there was any chance the travel tip of the week would stay, closer to home. And I thought about that. It was really nice advice. And my travel tip this week is actually a homebound one. It's for cat owners. And if you've got a cat, you would know that you've probably got about 27 different types of food that you put out, and they pick and choose from each of them, or at least mine does. What we've found at our home is that uneaten cat food is amazing bird food.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I know you're a dog owner.
Well, yes, we have a Cavalier. He'll eat his meal in under a minute flat. So, there's no uneaten dog food at our place.
Uneaten food.
But he is pretty choosy. So if it's a bit new or a bit different, then might be dicey.
Well, with our one, there's no way of knowing which of the fresh kangaroo or fresh chicken or tinned tuna or dry meats or the canned tins or the pellets. There's no way of knowing. And the good news is that the birds that will eat a range of foods.
Yeah, so fantastic.
Kookaburras. So our back deck in the mornings in Avery, like we've got magpies and currawongs, who are the nerds of the crop, and then the kookaburras, and they're all lining up.
Everyone's there.
Rainbow lorikeets. So there you go. That's the non-travel tip of the week: is to don't throw out your uneaten cat food. Make sure you repurpose it to the bird.
Yeah, fantastic. There we go.
Happy with that.
The locals love it.
Yeah. So listener feedback. We thank you so much to everyone who takes the time to write in.
Yes, thank you.
KM mentioned that we were talking about whether you could be annoyed if someone didn't take your advice.
Yes. Yep.
And his thought was, hey, if someone's asked you for your advice, not only should you not get annoyed, you should actually give advice, which was interesting. What they really wanted, he was saying, was that for you to listen to them while they made their own decision.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
That's actually a really good take.
I didn't mind the hip check on that one too, because here I was thinking, I'm giving advice, someone should be listening. And if you miss the context, shoot back a couple of episodes and you'll find it. Yeah, I love that perspective.
That is good, actually. That's really good. Yeah,
really cool. And
we're all learning together.
Speaking of listener feedback, if Black Mamba has written in complain they didn't get a mention in the most venomous snake list.
Don't want to make enemies with those guys, Ben.
Well, yeah, I think we've got one pretty upset. I thought Black Mamba was that Kobe Bryant persona, but apparently it's a pretty venomous snake who is now upset, which just sounds pretty bad saying.
It does.
When you think about it. Conundrum of the Week's a popular section.
Conundrum.
Yeah, I've got one for you.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Non-stick pans. Non-stick frying pans, the ones I'm talking about.
I know. Yeah. I know them. Yeah.
Do you put oil in them?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So I always seem to have a funny story, but I've got a funny story about non-stick pans.
That's why we're here, mate. We're here for your story.
So we moved from Bali back to Australia in 2019, and so we had to redo the kitchen, and we went out and bought a really expensive non-stick pan, which we could then not use oil in. And as a result, that pan is still in its brand new mint condition because we don't use it ever, because it sits there in the cupboard, and we use a much smaller pan that we can trash and treat badly and put all manner of different oils in cooking. So the irony is that we don't use the good pan.
So what I'm hearing is you don't put oil in it.
Don't put oil in it. We don't put anything in it.
Yeah. I think a topic for a future podcast is you choosing to move from Bali to Australia before COVID and how that unfolded. Clearly you didn't know.
I think it was just time for us to come home, I think. Yeah. The kids going into high school and that sort of thing. So
nice.
Yeah.
And to come home to start a podcast as well.
Well, exactly. Yes, a few years later, but definitely it was there.
And what was your dream of like? What did you look forward to when you were starting the podcast? Like, what was the key driver for you?
I think the key driver was I guess pushing myself a little bit, connecting with friends, and having a chat and a yak, diving into a few conundrums, connection. All those things. How about you, Ben?
Kind of made me feel bad. Very warm and fuzzy. I did it because I wanted merchandise.
You wanted the merchandise?
Yeah, which brings me to the unboxing. This is the first ever Bravo Charlie Club unboxing of a...
Look at that.
May have to hold it up to a camera, mate.
Bravo Charlie
Is that the right camera? Yeah.
There we go.
We've got our
fantastic. We've got our merch.
Tick podcast, tick merch.
It's real. The podcast's real. We've got merch,
and that's it. With BCC listeners on our week. Bravo, Charlie.
And that's the pod.